consciousness, no gravity.
Good morning, guys. Feeding silence here this morning. I thought it might be another good opportunity for a little story time. Continuing on with our series, I thought that I've really been looking for an opportunity to introduce you to a man that was a big part of my life growing up. He was here around the farm every day. He was no relation, but he was like family. It's Clay Halleck, and a lot of the local people around here will remember Clay Halleck. And I wanted to kind of give you a little bit of history about him and his family before I tell you the story that he was involved in. Clay and his family, I think his dad and mom were Pete and Emma. They lived up the road here a ways. And when Clay was about 8 years old, in 1930, of course, you know, that was hard times across the whole country around that time. And the Hallecks were having a really hard time too. And my grandpa and great-grandpa had gotten word that Clay and his family were in trouble. And they were up there, up on that hill, and really didn't have any money and didn't have hardly anything left to eat. And my great-grandpa had an old log home up one of the hollows here by the dairy that he thought would suit them, so he and my grandpa and some of his brothers and maybe sisters took a horse and sled and went up to Clay's mom and dad's and got the family and brought them off of the hill with the horse and brought them up here and put them in that log house. Well, Clay, like I say, was about 8 years old, and I don't know, he had 3 brothers that I'm aware of. He may have had more family, so they were really in a bad way. Clay Halleck worked for my family and milked cows for 40 to 50 years, 7 days a week. He never went hardly anywhere. He loved it, and he had a Appalachian dialect that I've not heard around here from anyone else. He used words that you just don't hear anymore, and he was a really good guy. He never complained about doing anything. He was just the best worker that anybody could imagine. So he died here. He was 84, I believe, 84 years old when he died in 2007. But he was just a really good guy. Now, I got to get to this story. Years ago, maybe before I was born, I'm not sure when it happened, my neighbor, where I live now, where the greenhouse is at now, a neighbor to the dairy, had a cow that was out and was known for really being mean. And she was wandering around the house and the barn where the greenhouses are now. And he come up, he wanted to know if my grandpa and Clay could come down and help him get that cow in before something terrible happened. He was worried about her getting out in the road, you know, that kind of thing. So Clay and my grandpa, they quickly went down there, and Clay had a cane, and my grandpa, I'm sure he had something, and the fellow that owned the farm there at that time, they all started trying to work on getting that cow in, and she was pretty much just running circles. They couldn't do much with her. Well, she cut over towards my neighbor there now, and there's a deep creek between me and my neighbor. Well, the old cow got down in that creek, and she was headed towards the road. It just so happened that Clay was down there on the far end of the creek to keep her from going into that road. But that old cow, she come right at him. Now, Clay wasn't a very big guy. He was, I don't know, he might have been 5'6", and he was always thin, but he was stout, and he was just tough, naturally tough guy, you know. And Clay was down in that creek, and here comes that cow. Well, he was scared, as anybody would have been, and he had that cane with him, and there wasn't nothing to do but either get out of the creek and let her get in the road, or stand your ground and try to get her turned. Well, of course, Clay wasn't one for giving up too easy, so he decided to stand his ground, and the old cow come down that creek right at him. Clay was scared to death, and when the cow got to him, he swung that cane for his life and hit that cow and knocked her out cold. And it scared my dad and grandpa and some of the others that were there. It scared them to death. They thought sure he'd killed her. But he swung to save his own life, knocked her out cold, and in a little bit she got up. So that's just one little story about Clay Halleck. Fine feller. Probably some more about him in the future. Thought I'd share that one with you today. Thank you guys for watching. Catch up with you on the next video.
Oh, highway boys all sleeping out with the dirty mouths and broken strings. Other eyes are shining like the sea for you, the Queen of San Luis. I'm a ghost to you, you're a ghost to me, a bird's eye view, San Luis.